Hey there, and welcome to another Mojo Quick Tip video. Today's video is going to be on using our drag and drop email editor. And while not as quick as our other quick tip videos, it is going to be full of valuable information for you to reference when starting to use Mojo for your marketing needs, such as emailing. Now, the drag and drop email editor is an HTML5 email editor, meaning it is the latest and greatest in HTML and it renders great across all platforms. It's responsive, meaning you can create one email and it will work on both a desktop or a mobile application without any extra work. Now, there's a lot of tools inside of Mojo where you can use these email templates we're about to set up. The first one, obviously, is click to send email. That's where you press the email button on a contact record from which you have an email address for. You select the template and you shoot it out of the system. The second option for email templates, where you can use them inside of Mojo, the next tool, I should say, is auto send email. That's where, prior to a call session, you can choose which emails to send out automatically as soon as you press a last call result button. An example would be a thanks for talking to me email whenever you press the contact button. Or, hey, sorry I missed you, I just tried to call you about your expired listing, every time you hit the no contact button or the left message button. The next tool where you can use templates in the Mojo system is going to be in the action plans. They're currently in beta. It's December 1st, 2016. In about a week, they're going to have more options in the action plans, but right now it is just email steps. So you can use them in drip email with your action plan. So that's the third tool. The fourth tool to use these templates in is going to be blast emailing. And that's where, it's pretty simple. You probably know what that is. You select a group of leads or an entire list inside of Mojo and send out a blast email to everybody in that list, which is great for staying in contact with your SOI, your database, and even expireds that you just can't get on the phone. You can, give them that last effort there, trying to entice them via email. Okay, so that's where inside of Mojo you can use these templates. Before I go over to the templates, actually, let's do that now. Let's not stall. When I go into the settings area and I come down to email, you're going to see there's a templates button here, a link. And that's where we default to as soon as we go into the email settings. I'm going to stay here. The first type of template we have, the one I'm not going to cover today, is a new basic template. That's your basic text-based email. There's virtually no HTML in it. There's no images. It's just a quick conversational email. Most of you probably won't have templates for that, although you might. But a lot of people who do use them in like an expired action plan with drip email, where it's a conversation that they're having with the expired property over the course of like 16 or however many weeks until that property either lists with them or goes active with somebody else. That's one type of template. We're not going to discuss that today because it's self-explanatory and it's easy to set up. The drag and drop template that we have available in Mojo is the one that needs a little bit of instruction because it's super powerful and there's a lot you can do with it. The great news is once you create a template, it's in the system forever. So it makes sense for you to sit down, grab a cup of tea, coffee, water, whatever you drink, and spend or invest the time into creating these templates. Once you've created them, they show up here in this grid. But I'm going to start from scratch. So the first thing we're going to do to set up our new drag and drop template is click, imagine that, new drag and drop template. Once I've done that, it opens up a new screen, and you'll see here there's a bunch of example stuff. And the first thing I always do when I do this is I remove all this sample stuff. So I just click on the bottom right of each section, and it brings up a little delete symbol, because I want to work with a clean slate. Okay, now that we have a clean slate, you're going to see it says no content here, drag new content, drag new from the content panel. There are 3 libraries of content that you can play with, if you will. I'm going to start on the left-hand side. Actually, I take that back. I'm going to go back to the right-hand side. The body of the email, and those of you with a website background, you'll understand this concept much more than someone who's got zero website experience. That's not to say you need to have website experience. It's absolutely not. That's not true. This is geared towards someone with no experience. The body is going to be the settings that pertain to the whole email. For instance, the content area width. We can increase the size, and if you look on the screen, the blue box is increasing in size, and therefore any content will expand width-wise to meet those size requirements. Personally, I like the standard 500 pixel wide myself. I think it makes for a good-looking professional email. The next one is your background color. I can change this background color from white. You wouldn't do this, but I can change it to black. Again, I wouldn't do that, but you get the idea. So I'm going to put it back to white, which you can either put in the hexagonal code, hex code, or you can click in here and use the picker. The content area background color is going to be the center strip. Anything that falls in the center of it, and I would leave it transparent myself. If you're a designer and you're like, heck no, I want to play with it, great, it's there. But for those of you who don't have a lot of experience, don't mess with it. This would be my suggestion. You can choose your default font, which encompasses the entire email. Again, we're working with the body. It's everything. It's kind of the overview. And then any links you put in it, what color do you want they to be, or want them to be? Now, you're probably not going to do a lot in here. Mainly, you're probably going to mess with the content width, and even then, I'd leave it alone. Now, these emails with HTML, things are broken into sections, and in here, they call them structure. So an example would be if I wanted a boring email with just one paragraph in it, I need to first put the structure element in for that. Oops. See, I have to drag structure over, and if you look, it duplicated the structure piece that was already there. Because remember, it starts off with one piece, with one structure area. And all a structure area is, let me go back, sorry, I deviated a little bit there. It's a holding place for the content, and we'll get into content in a minute. So if you wanted to create an email that was 2-column, or had 2 buttons side by side, you would put in a side by side structure element. If you wanted to create an email that had the majority of the width on the right hand side, let's say it was the base content on the right and on the left, see how it's split? You wanted to put like a quote in, that's how you do that. That's the reversal of it. If you wanted to put 3 buttons in, or 4 buttons, or you wanted to split your footer into 3 or 4 columns, this is how you would do that. So structure is kind of the building block. The content is what the user sees when they see the email. It's whatever information you're going to bring in, and this will make sense here now. You can create a text content piece, an image, a button, a divider, so a horizontal line, social buttons, and then if you're a real geek like me, you can program HTML in, and it will render correctly. Now that I've covered that, you're probably more confused than ever, and we're going to fix that, because I'm going to show you by creating an email how everything flows together, and then you can kind of hop into Mojo on your own with that coffee, tea, or water, whatever, and play around with it. So I've already got my first structure piece. What's normally at the top of an email? A header. So I'm going to go ahead and add an image. So I'm going to click and drag this over to here. And once I do that, you'll see that it goes from a background in blue to a gray box, and it clearly is an image here that I'm putting. It identifies it. And there's a browse button, right? Because we have to go find that image. So I'm going to hit browse. Now, we've already put in some images playing around with this when we're developing it. So there's already some in my account. Nobody else can see these, all right? So when you upload images to your, what I call a light box, no one else can see them, so don't worry about that. They're only seen by you. I can, up here on the left next to File Manager, I can upload a new image from my computer, just like you would anywhere else. I can import from one of these services by logging into them and bringing the images in. May be handy if you have a lot of your stuff on Facebook. Or I can search free photos from a service, Pexels, Pixabay, and Unsplash. I can put in house for sale, and these are commercial-free licenses, and I can, grab some of these images. They're not watermarked, and I can bring them in. So you have options with images. But again, my goal here is to add a header. That's what I was originally doing. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to grab my email header right here. And I'm going to highlight it, check it off. And over here, I'm going to choose Insert. I'm going to click on the X button, plus button. And there we have it. I just created my first email header. Looks pretty slick, right? Great. So what's the next thing I want to do? Well, the next thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to put in some social buttons because I want people to find me easily on the social web, right? So I'm going to go over to my structure area because remember, for every piece of content, we have to have a corresponding structure area. And in this case, I'm going to drag this structure element over and drop it there. Now, the great thing about this is you don't have to fill in all the structure elements. Let me show you. I can go over to social and drag that over here. And maybe I don't want to put anything on this side. I don't have to. So I will work with my social buttons. I've dragged them over. I click in them, and you'll see that a new properties window opens up that's specific to what I have highlighted here. I've got my Facebook icon. I don't know what ours is. I'll just put Mojo Selling Solutions. I'm sure that's close to being right. All right. Now I can go down and put in Twitter. Put my handle in here. And Google. Let's just assume those are all correct. It's embarrassing I don't know. All right. I can choose the alignment, centered, left justified, or right. In this case, since the structure box and the content box is so small, it's not as important. So I'm going to leave it centered because going left or right doesn't really make a difference because it's such a small area. I can space out the buttons to look better, which isn't working here very good because the box is so small to begin with. So I've increased that icon spacing to 10. Which I think looks better. And then I can add padding, and I'm not going to get into all that today, but in a nutshell, we just added my social icons, and when I'm done, the user will be able to click on those, and it will go to the corresponding page. Okay, that's done. The next thing I'm going to want to put in, let me think here, is going to be text. So I need a structure element for text. And a good one for me, anyways, for text, is this guy right here. I'm going to drag that over, and boom. It's there. Content, I want to grab text. I'm going to drag it over. Now, I've already got some saved on my clipboard. This is a bunch of stuff I pulled off another email we were messing around with. And I'm going to paste that in there. Oops, sorry. And there we go. God, that looks awful. Good news. There are text properties. Great. First thing I'm going to do, doesn't require any software, is I'm just going to hit and put my spaces in to create 3 unique paragraphs. Now, by default, this guy pops up. Very common. It's just a text editor panel, whatever you want to call it. I could change the font size. I can bold it, make it italic, underline it, strike through, blah, blah, justify it. Put in special characters. I can make a numbered list. I can make an unordered list or what's called a bullet list. I can change a text color. I can give it a background color, which is super cheesy. Don't do that. And then I can change the formatting of the paragraph, whether it's which way the text goes, which I don't know why that's even in there. I can add a hyperlink. I can remove a link, and I can put special links in. And here's these next two where we're going to focus for a moment when it comes to text. A special link in the case of text is going to be an unsubscribe link. Now, by default, the Mojo system automatically puts in an unsubscribe. In the email settings, you can choose whether or not the unsubscribe link goes at the top or at the bottom. So even if you don't program one in or design this special link in the email, it's already going to have one by default. Why would you want to use this special link then if Mojo has you covered? That is because some of you may want to give your unsubscribe link a level of anonymity, we'll call it. Again, the Mojo one puts it smack dab at the top or smack dab at the bottom. You may want to put it midway through, get creative with it, whatever. Either way, if you use this special text unsubscribe link, it will override the Mojo one and ours will no longer show up. Okay. The next one is merge tags. This is a no-brainer. All of the common contact fields and even your own custom miscellaneous fields show up here for you to use and embed in your email. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to step it down a couple of spaces. And I'm going to put hello, although I like greetings, space, merge tag, first name, comma. Now, pretty self-explanatory, you know what's going to happen. When I send this out, it's automatically going to populate the first name of that person. So it's to be unique to each contact that you send it to, obviously. All right, let's go back to the text. It's looking to me like, it's going to be a monster to read this. The reading is not the best. So I'm going to highlight it. And actually, I'm going to come back over here. What I did was I highlighted the text, which took me out of the content properties. I'm just in the box, as I have been the entire segment here. And over here, we see we have text color. I can change that. If there were a link, I can change the color of the link. What I'm going to focus on, because I don't like how compact that looks, I'm going to give it some line spacing. And to be honest with you, I like 3. Whenever our clients send us emails, especially me, because my email address shows up, and I mean, I get thousands of them a month, no exaggeration. I probably know more about listed homes, freshly new listed homes, than anybody else in this country. But I can tell right away whether or not I would read the email or not, simply based on line spacing. That's what's important to me, or this line height. So I like the level 3 here. It's sharp. It shows up well. I can read it. I wear glasses. It's just looks super neat to me. All right. Whew. We're getting somewhere. All right. So I'm looking at this, and you know what? I'm going to change this up a little bit. I want to add an image. And I want to link that puppy to my Mojo Dialer video that's on YouTube. Now, the problem is, if I wanted to put the video in here, in my email here, I'm going to have to put it in the center or something down at the bottom. And I just don't think that's going to look good. I want to embed it in what they call inline style. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to take this text out. We're getting crazy here. I hope I can do this. My mouse for my MacBook Pro here just died on me, so I'm using the touchpad. I'm not as good with it. So I'm going to cut that out. Okay. And it's going to shrink that box. And I want to shrink this even more, because see how there's a bunch of space down here that's unneeded? I'm going to enter that out. Perfect. And now, you bet, I'm going to bring in a structure element. Now, look what I do. Now I'm going to bring in this job here. I'm going to put the image here below my paragraph, or my text body. And on the left, I'm going to continue on with that text that I just deleted. So I'm going to bring this structure element over. I'm going to go back up to content. I'm going to grab this text one. I'm going to drag it down. I'm going to double click in it. And I'm going to enter that text back. See that, what I just did? And what do I need to do? I need to give it the same look, and there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. It looks naked, though, because I haven't done anything over here yet. So that's done. Now, I'm going to click out of that. I'm going to come back up to content, and now I'm going to drag an image over. Perfect. So, just like we had up here in the header, I've got myself an image here. I'm going to click browse, and it just so happens I did some really poor Photoshop work, and I created an image for a player, and I'm going to click insert, and look at that. So we have a play button on it, right? Because I want to initiate the action of click here to watch a video. It needs to make sense, so I put the play button on it. So I'm going to go ahead, and here it is. I'm going to go over to our Mojo Dialer demonstration video and copy that link. And I'm going to paste it in. And on click, I want it to open a web page. But while I'm here, we're going to digress a bit or go off track. I'm known for this. If you've been a customer for years, you know this. I can either have it open a web page, I can have it send an email, which will create an action on the mobile device or on the computer to open up the email client. In some cases, I can, depending on the recipient's device, it can auto-generate a call. Like I can embed my phone number and say, click here to call or whatever, call me now, boom, and it starts calling it. Or I can initiate a sending of a text message. And again, it really, HTML5 has come a long ways, but not everything is caught up to it yet. So not all devices will send the text, not all devices will send make the call, but it is coming. I would say probably 60% of the devices will listen to that. As well as on a computer, folks, if you've got a make call in there and the person has Google as their email client, the Google phone pad will pop up if they've activated it. Or if they don't have Google, but they have Skype and Skype's open, Skype will initiate the call. So it's pretty cool. I wouldn't design a web template around those specifically because, again, probably 60% of your end users are going to be able to use those little added bonuses, so it's not a good idea to emphasize that too much. But for this image with a video, I'm going to do open web page. I don't know why I did that. All right, cool. Now, I like the spacing. Everything's looking good. I could give it some padding. I just click more options. I can add padding to all sides, like I just did. And what that would do is it adds space around my image. And what will that do? That'll shrink it. So if I had this M was overly large and it was making this text kind of squish, I could add some padding to it or just add it to one side. And I could like suck it over to the right by going to the left. See that? See what I'm doing? So most of the time you won't have to use that. I just want to demonstrate it. All right. So see how it's coming along? Greetings, first name, the Mojo prospecting system, blah, blah, blah. You know, while I want to believe that everybody is going to be able to understand what this is, maybe I should add some text to this image to make it so they know they need to click there. And to be honest with you, I don't know if I can do it. So we're going to do this together. Interesting. Alternate text. Click here to see demo video. Does that do it? It will on mouse over. That's not too shabby. I'll leave that alone. I could bring in another. I could do this. Let's go back up. I told you this was going to be a long video, but I think it's important that you guys see the power of this stuff. I could go here, and I could drag in. No, I don't like that. I'm going to leave it alone for now. Yeah, I'm going to leave that alone for now. Oh. Why not just do this? Click here to watch video. And again, I can play with that. I can center it. I can... Aha. And I'll bold that. No, I don't want to bold it. Maybe I want to go just a little larger. So it's 16 maybe? There. Not too bad. I'm not going to finely tune this thing. Again, I just wanted to show you it can be done. So I've got my text. I have my text here. And the purpose of me splitting this up was to make this image inline. Okay, now what do I want to do? Let's get crazy. If we haven't already been crazy enough. I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to add 3. Oh, I can't believe I'm doing this in this video. I'm going out on a limb here. I'm going to put in some buttons. Now on my MacBook, it's almost below the fold. That's going to drive me crazy. All right, So I'm going to highlight the button, and you're going to see here, it gives you the option to link it, of course, right? So I'm just going to I'm going to put in my home page, and it's going to open it on click. I hate that background color. So let's go with something. Oh yeah, look at that. I like that. Of course, you can put whatever color you want in by having the hex code. I like the background, the text color. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm not going to mess with anything else. You can rearrange these buttons and make them closer together, pull them apart by using the padding. You can also put a border on them. I don't like borders on a button personally. I feel like the end of the button is the border. So I'm going to go to this one. I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to make this one go to... I don't know that this is our sign up URL, but let's pretend it is. All right. Perfect. And I'm going to go to this button. And again, I'm going to make it the same color. And I'll just say calls blog. Cool. All right. So I just added 3 buttons. Now I could give these buttons a background color. I could give it a horizontal background color. What am I doing? I got to give them a name, don't I? What am I thinking here? I'm going to say, learn more, sign up, blog. Pretty simple, right? Except look what it did. It made the buttons a little smaller. The less text I have, the less width the button has. So I can probably do it the old-fashioned way and just add in... I can do that. Or what I could do, take that back out of there. And what I can actually do is go to the button and I can give it some padding and increase the size of it to match. See what I just did? Go to the blog one. Same thing. Go to the padding, and I'm going to give it some size. Now I'm going to go over to this one and reduce it by 5 each. All right, and the sign up one, I'll do the same. There we have it. Perfect. All right, so I've done that. What's the last thing I'm going to do? This video's getting long. I'm going to add another structure element, another threefer. I'm going to bring it down here. And again, it's matching the 500 pixel width. I'm just going to bring some text in real quick. I'm an okay typer, so this shouldn't take too long. I'm going to put in... Actually, I want that on the same line. Okay. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to center it. Excuse me. Jeepers creepers, David. All right. I just centered that. I'm going to bring in another text element. And I'm going to call, let's see here, I can do... Okay, I'll come back and make that look neater here in a minute. And I can go up here to text, bring another one in, And so I just sell it. So lead manager, power dialer, lead services. All right. Okay. So now I want to take this one. Oop. I want to center it. Select all first. Trying to learn my lesson here. Okay. And go to this one. Do the same thing. And there we have it. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to bring that down. Perfect. And I'm going to put in the AM here. All right. So I just created a footer, right? You know, perhaps I want to give this footer some background color. So why don't we do that? I can go to this color picker here. And what I can do, I think I like that one. I can do it for each content block, give it the same color. Oh, I see what I did wrong. Hold on. Column 2. So it's a 3-column structure element. So I have column 1. I want this to be the background color. Column 2, which is my hours of operation. I want to match it. Column 3. I want to match it. All right. Now I can see that you can see here that because there's more text in column 1, the background color for 2 and 3 don't match. So I'm going to go back to column 2, and I'm going to give it some padding on the bottom. And I'm going to go to column 3, and I'm going to give it some padding on the bottom. Okay. And now what I do is, for this entire row, I'm going to give it the same color. And kaboom. There you have it. All right, that's all I'm doing today just because, well, it's been a really long video. So now what I need to do is I need to preview it. Actually, before I do that, let's give this thing a label. Labels are super important inside of Mojo because you may end up with 20, 30, 40 templates. If you don't know what the email pertains to, you won't be able to use it efficiently. So I'm going to say test quick tip. Create. And the subject's going to be thanks for watching and your patience. Thanks for watching and your patience. Perfect. So now I'm going to hit preview. And when I hit preview, what that does is it opens up what it would look like on someone's desktop. And there you have it. I already see a change I want to make, but you get the idea. You can see that, right? So then I click on the mobile preview, and it shows me what the preview is. Look at that. Beautiful image. Boom. Watch my video. Call to action. And then it shows you what it's going to look like in the mobile environment. Now, one thing I didn't like, and I'm going to do it real quick, is this row, I should say this row, it's a little tight. So I'm going to go to the top, and I'm going to add 15, or 20, I should say, padding, which is now going to break it down, or it's going to bring it down away from my buttons. Yeah, I like that better. So that's the email. This is what it will look like. Now I've made probably 20 emails in this thing, and I haven't jumped in here for months. Well, that's not true. A couple weeks at a minimum, and the last email I made was just a test. So you can see, once you learn how to use it and you understand how to navigate and what the different controls are, that you then, when you run into problems, you can identify pretty easily what tools that are available to you to solve that problem. And it's really super simple. So I'm going to go ahead and save this by pressing the save button. And I'm going to show you one more thing. For those of you who want to do split testing, where you want to create multiple email templates targeting the same group of people, but let's say you want to fool around with a call to action. You want to test out some different calls to action. Let me go up here, and I'm going to sort this by only drag and drop templates. And Quick tip, create. I'm going to double click on this. I'm going to open that template back up. But this time, rather than doing all that over again, I'm just going to choose save as. I'm going to give it a label. Quick tip, create number 2, and subject. Change the subject. Maybe that gets people to open it better, right? So I just created a new email. And once I save, it always comes back to, just sort these. It always comes back to the data grid. I open it up, and boom, it's all right here in front of me. I don't have to recreate anything. I just change it. So where else could this be helpful? Let's say you use the same header all the time and you use the same social icons. All you have to change is the content in the middle, and you use the same bottom. Maybe you have a brand footer image. Probably most of you do. You can slide that right in there and it'll look super sweet. You could just keep recycling one template over and over and over again, so you don't have to go through the hassle of changing the header in the footer. That's going to wrap up this video. It went super long. I apologize for that, but I hope you can finally start using the drag and drop email template creator if you're not currently using it. And I hope it clears up any questions people have when using it. Now I can go off and I can do click to send. I can blast people this email out. I can use it in my auto send during a dialing session, and I can assign it to an action plan. That's going to wrap up this video, everybody. Thank you very much, and make it a great day.